All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Dark Horse Area 51 Indy Series here tonight at Pocono Raceway. 90 laps will be our race distance this evening as drivers roll off on track. So, Chris, we went from a 1.5 mile fast oval of Las Vegas Motor Speedway to a 1 mile very fast oval for these cars of Dover Speedway, and now we bring it over to the 2 mile Pocono race, 2.5 mile, apologies, Pocono Raceway. Say again, with these cars, no surprise, also going to be very quick, a lot of throttle time, also though a lot of drafting time. So strategy, I think, could really play a big role in tonight. These cars have that pretty big draft window, usually about a second and a half or so. Whereas if you're within that window, you will be able to hold on to the draft of that car in front. So it's going to be fun to see what's going to be the winning strategy here tonight. I do think there could be potential for some fuel strategy as well, kind of like we saw last week at Dover. I said we mentioned, Matt Wagner had that strategy just about perfect to the T, just unfortunately the luck didn't work out for him that night. So we'll see what we're going to get tonight. Should be a lot of fun, though. Looks like we've got about 18 cars taking grid this evening. So we're going to see who's going to be able to come out on top tonight.
Yeah, definitely a big pendulum swing when it comes to the size of these tracks, and this is probably one of the toughest tracks for just grouping, patchwork of, you have groups of cars just going around. 3 turns, all of them are definitely different, and the strategy of where you're going to start at is going to determine how you want to race this race today.
Yeah, and that's going to all start with qualifying, obviously. Whether you want to be up front and try to control the race, or do you want to be a little bit further back and just, again, use the draft all race long. So right now we've got looks like about 8 cars put laps down. We've got a handful more on track. So definitely looks like drivers are going to be going for that qualifying approach here this evening. Not too many wanting to start towards the back. So that's always going to be fun to see how it's going to shake out. But yeah, right now it looks like we've got Nick DeGroot, I believe, has made his 2 laps. It looks like a handful are about to finish up their second laps right now. So very, very close up front. Looks like everybody's within a couple hundreds of each other. So going to be very tight on qualifying tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you might not run good qualifying laps here, and you might get stuck and kind of mired in the back. But with the drafting help and a little bit of the the pack racing that you'll have here, you can definitely make up some spots and have a good racing car as opposed to a bad qualifying car. So you might set your car up just for passing and everything like that, but you might struggle if you're in the lead. So a lot of these guys, there's a fine balance with this track. And then we have, I think, about 21 laps of fuel, give or take. So you can kind of mess with that there, and with 90 laps, it's going to be kind of a big strategy, especially if we have a wreck early or late right after a pit stop.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I think that's going to be the story of tonight. Is going to be that fuel mileage, because I was doing some rough math, and that's always a dangerous thing for me to do. But it looks like on the numbers, if you want to make this a 4-stop race, you need to go 18 laps, which again, based on the number we were hearing, roughly about 21 laps, maybe. Should be no problem to get to that point. The question is, could they maybe stretch an extra 2 laps out of it? Because doing the math again, for a 3-stop race, you need to average about 22.5 laps, which of course here at Pocono, half lap won't get you very far. So you need to go 23 laps to make it on a 3-stop strategy. And again, with the pace of these cars, these guys are going to be going probably 215, 220 plus down the straights. I think if you can cut a pit stop off and just use that draft to its full ability, I think that's going to be the winning strategy if, of course, we go caution free.
Oh, definitely. I'd like to take a quick little segue here into doing a little bit of a callback. For the last couple races that we've done, we've had over 150 people watch, or right around that number. So thank you all to the viewers that have been watching and supporting us. Supporting Gael and things like that. So I'm pretty new to the broadcasting game, but I know you guys have been watching Gael and all the rest of his friends do the broadcasting stuff, and I'd like to give a big shout out to all you fans out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do anything without all the viewers. That definitely makes a big difference. So it looks like qualifying just has completed here. As you see, cars starting to grid up here. what we'll do now is we'll pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And it will be Nick DeGroot on pole position by 0.06 of a second over Matt Wagner. Yari Brubacher, Gary Corley, Eric Peterson going to round out our top 5. Then you go to Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Jeff Highsong, Christian Alesho, AJ Hobson, Jim Herrick, our top 10. And Charles Teed, Dan Morera there in 12th. And then going on down further, Joseph Morales, Dylan McIntosh, CJ Holloman, Taylor Reeves, and Joseph DeCiro will be our 17 starters tonight. Notable that I'm not seeing here this evening is Craig Forsyth in that number 27 machine, unfortunately. Not sure where Craig is tonight. Maybe some conflict in schedule, or maybe not sure. But definitely missing Craig here this evening. So we'll see. I say hopefully that this, I would think, has to be at this point his drop week, if you will, for the points, for the season-long point standings, as this will be race number 3 of 12 in the season. And again, there are no playoffs in the Indy Series. It's just a straight 12 race playoffs, or straight 12 race season, I should say. So yeah, don't expect to see anything on the playoff side here. Kind of like I said, kind of like old school Indy cars. No green, white, checkered, single file restarts, just a regular season. So that's what we expect to see here tonight. And I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be very interesting to see with these drivers, especially mid-pack, because these guys are going to be stepping all over each other's toes.
Oh, definitely. I don't think we had anybody over 3/10, in qualifying from 1st to 15th. So we got a couple guys that not take laps, but it's going to be a very close race over here. Guy, a little bit of thing for me. I've never necessarily liked starting, sideways whenever you come to some of these tracks like Pocono and I think Charlotte and stuff like that. Do you think for these guys where, they have lower gears, do you think sometimes they spin out and they not necessarily know where they're at? Oh, we just had one right there. Oh, my
just
gosh.
I'll say these guys are getting all the heat in the tires that they can possibly get. And that's the thing, too, is, you might want to get every little bit you can out of these cars. And I'll say it's one of those ones you never want to get caught doing it, but it looks like everybody else is going to get off cleanly. So, there have been times, and I've had my own times, too, where I'll roll out of pit road. I'll start rolling the car, and I'll have my steering wheel basically spun 360 to where I thought it was, and so all of a sudden my car's cranking left or cranking right, and I have to make a quick adjustment to get it pointed to the right way before I hit the inside pit wall. So I've definitely had my share of near embarrassing moments, and definitely have had my share of embarrassing moments. So you're right though, that pit wall and the angle in your exit in your pits is always one to watch for. At the same time, it's kind of fun, especially I really like Charlotte though, like I say, where you're pointing towards the crowd. Just that little things make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit easier, and last week it was a lot. It was really tough for these guys to get down to the pit lane. We had most of our single car wrecks happen down pit lane where these guys are getting down to the apron, and as you're downshifting, just the tires are kicking out from under you, and it's just causing problems. But here, there's just even a little bit more difficulty because you're coming out of the corner, full bore, but you're having to drop it all the way down to I think 55 miles per hour. And the pit lane itself is very wide, but the way that you have to duck out of the pack to commit down to the pits, almost just like Indianapolis, where you're immediately hooking left. So it's going to be very interesting to see as we come in the green.
Yeah, because you see the pace car turns off. It's going to hand it over to Nick DeGroot, waiting for that green flag. And we are down and away in a great start for Nick and Yari. You see Matt lost just a little bit of ground there, and he is immediately getting swallowed up there by, looks like, I think Gary Corley's up there, Eric Peterson, and he's going to go back about a spot or two as Yari Brubacher is actually going to take the point into turn number 1. So a great start for Yari from 3rd to 1st here. But now it's all about that momentum, that draft, to see who's going to hang on as we get to the tunnel turn for the first time.
Yeah, you're going to see the leaders do a lot of snaking down the hill if you have two cars, kind of drafting around you. So you'll see Nick kind of go left, kind of go right, just to figure out who he wants to bring along, and who's going to be the attacker here. As we see, I think who's that in the back? I think that's Yari right there. That's taking advantage of him as we come down and complete lap 1.
Yep, Yari going to lead lap number 1, that 49 machine. Nick DeGroot right on his gearbox. But not looking like a lot of pressure from Nick. I'm thinking he might be looking at that fuel mileage also. Nick not usually one to give up track position, so I'm thinking he might be seeing that fuel number and said, you know what? I almost got burned on it at Dover. Don't want to get burned again here at Pocono. So we'll see if that's the plan for him or not. But right now, he's kind of holding pretty steady, just tucked in line. And you can see really the field right now all kind of just tucked in line here. as we head back into turn number 3 for the second time around. And yeah, of course, everybody's going to start to kind of jump around a little bit as they get through 3 and 4, or sorry, no turn 4, through turn 3. You see Yari also breaking the draft a little bit, but again, it looks like Nick has no concerns. But right now, nice little gaggle right here. Matt Wagner, Luis Gonzalez, Gary Corley, as it gets very tight in turn number 1. Here comes AJ Hobson, that Valvoline card, joining in the party there as well.
Yeah, 3 different turns, 3 different types of bankings, 3 different entries, and very, very hard to kind of just follow the next car right in front of you. So turn 2 is usually your high-speed turn. Turn 1 is going to be your low-speed type of turn where you're very, very much into the turn itself. And in turn 3, you're kind of just drifting around here, kind of like you see these guys. But you want to get that turn, you want to get that power off that turn because you have all of the straight to get that draft help. Like you see Nick the Group kind of just sucking right back up to Yari Brewpacker, but everyone else is, tagging right along. So you might see Yari start diving away to see if he can break the pack again.
Yeah, you saw right there, Gary Corley was able to hold off AJ Hobson. Charles Teed, he got the momentum he was looking for. He actually gets back around AJ there. And right now, Gary's actually our highest climber right now, moving up 4 spots in that number 50 machine up into the 7th position. But yeah, right now, looks like the top 3, they're pretty content here to ride. I'm kind of getting that feeling for Nick DeGroot. I think he's got no worries about trying to put pressure on Yari right now. And then Eric Peterson, Matt Wagner, I think they're on the same kind of thought process here. So I do think Dover kind of resonated with some of these drivers. They said, you know what? Without that late yellow, that fuel mileage race would have been definitely a 2-stopper, I believe it was. And I think they're thinking tonight 3-stopper is going to be the way to go. So I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here. But we're going to go back a little further here, as you got Taylor Reeves there working over CJ Hallman right in front of him. So these guys are in 14 to 15. And also got to mention the 14 William Gunn is on track here. Unfortunately, 3 laps down, looks like maybe hopped in the server a little bit late, but he is on track. So right now, the only car 1 down. So if we do get some yellows, a great opportunity for him to get some laps back and get back into the thick of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys to kind of sit in 14th and 15th. They kind of have to run their own race, not really think about what the leaders are running. The leaders are kind of going to go off into their own type of a pack racing. But you see these guys, 14, 15, CJ Hallman, and, Taylor Reeves. They're going to have to either figure out how to get latched onto the rest of this train before they start racing, because 2 cars attacking, and they're trying to pass each other is going to slow down. It almost feels like a parachute effect for the guy directly behind. So they're going to go ahead. Oh, you see CJ Hallman get into the wall there. I think he's going to try to lay into the wall, so he's not causing a bigger wreck. But fortunate for him. But you see the rest of these guys, they need to sit there and kind of not really fight each other, but just try to gang up and get the pack racing going back again.
Yeah, he's going to try to limp this thing to pit road, which it looks like he'll be able to do. See if we can go back and get a better look as to what happened to CJ here. And so you see him, way off too high there in the tunnel turn. And at that point, he's just along for the ride. And yeah, just a hard enough hit there. You see some of the bodywork going flying, and unfortunately just enough to damage that car. So he is on pit road. We do stay under green, so we'll jump back live, as right now Yari's still leading. But right now, the field is starting to pack up a little bit more. We saw Luis Gonzalez, he got around Matt Wagner. Again, I don't think Matt's working too hard on putting up too big of a fight, but he's going to have some pressure soon, because that number 50 of Charles Teed, he is trying to get to the front here. He's not worrying too much about fuel right now. Looks like Charles, he wants that track position early and often.
Oh, definitely. I think Nick is kind of playing a little bit of a gatekeeper here, where he's not wanting a bunch of action happening with the lead and causing kind of just, your left to right dodging type of racing. So him being kind of a gatekeeper is keeping everyone kind of calm behind them. We see Matt and everyone else starting to gather right back up, but you don't see Nick going for the attack. I think he's probably laying back a little bit, as we see Eric Peterson kind of gain a little bit of an advantage on them. But obviously no one's passing each other except 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th right now. So I think I just heard another car get to the wall there, but it might have been just a small scrape.
Yeah, I think Gary Corley may have just kissed the wall, but I think that one he's going to get away with. You saw right there, Usher will jump back up, because I think I saw the 40 was trying to make some moves there, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think no. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up cars here. And I said we got a couple of cars that have some similar paint schemes, similar sponsors, but yeah, right now everybody's holding pretty steady. But we do have, though, Chris, we've got pretty much a 16-car train right now. From 1st to 16th, we are all within just about 4 seconds right now with about the top 6 within 1 second of each other. I mean, that's how tight it is. And that's from just, again, that's from these guys. They haven't bumped up the pace of this race. Normally you'd see it here at Pocono at Indy, that leapfrog approach where the one driver passes the other in the straightaway. They get the draft, they do the same. But right now these guys all just content to ride behind Yari. And I don't know, I kind of worry Yari's kind of maybe a sacrificial lamb right now for these guys. So they're just going to let him burn up all his fuel, and then they're going to try to work that fuel strategy to their own benefit.
Yeah, definitely a smart move by Nick if that's what he's trying to do. And kind of just keeping it at arm's length where if he starts getting away, he can just pull him right back. But he's not trying to pass him, not trying to use as much gas as Yari's doing right now. So Nick's in a very good spot, and the rest of these guys, they're still trying to pass each other, but they're doing it cleanly where they're not losing too much time. But you'll see, every couple of laps, you'll see Yari, try to defend where he'll go all the way down to the right of your screen, then all the way back up to the left right before they start making a turn. And that's just kind of the nature of the game here at this track.
Yeah, you saw right there, as soon as Eric Peterson dropped out of the draft, how much momentum he lost there. And look at this now, Eric went to the top where you expected them to be, but then they actually dropped to the middle, to the inside, actually gave Luis a big draft there through 1 and 2, or I should say, between 1 and 2. And that's actually got him just a nose ahead. Now it's going to be all about that fight for clean air here through 3. And you see one all the way at the bottom, one almost all the way at the top. They're going to almost meet in the middle. That was close off of turn number 3 between that 14 and 36.
Yeah, so this is going to give Matt Wagner a big run right there as he's going to try to go and take the overtake, as the rest of the guys up front just went defensive. So Matt might do a 2-for-1 right now. Almost made it complete, but yeah, it's one of those things where as soon as one person starts making a move, everyone else reacts and they start making moves against each other as well. So you see it's about a 6-car gap that's going right back into a 7, and that after another lap or so, it'll probably be right back to 8. So it happens quick where you have 4 cars break away, and then 2 cars start to fight each other, and then all of a sudden 8 cars are defending, or 8 cars are going for one whole position.
Yeah, it really kind of has that feel of a momentum race right now. As again, you see Luis kind of dropping down to the inside there. Oh, checks up a little early. Matt had to react quickly to that. And look how fast that brings everybody on the scene. Matt Wagner, Eric Peterson, they got really close to each other as well. But yeah, right now, though, Nick DeGroot, he's just on cruise control, I think. Like I said, he's still sniffing every bit of draft he can off of Yari. But yeah, like I said, right now, I think fuel mileage is going to be the big question. We talked about Chris, of course. Again, the magic number to me is 23 laps. If you can get to lap 23, which is in about 10 more laps here, that would be the magic window, I think, to make it on a 3-stop race. But again, they have to do that 2 more times. So it's not, once they do it once, it's not all said and done. They're going to have to keep saving the rest of the way. So it's one of those decisions. Once you do it, you're going to have to stay completely committed to it the rest of the way.
Definitely. If you go to Matt's in-car, you can kind of see them playing with the throttle a little bit and changing gears, where if he's sitting right up behind the car, he'll go down to 4th, 5th, and then come all the way back up to 6th if he's sitting directly behind somebody. So you see him go up to 6 right now. As soon as he gets to turn 2, he's going to probably drop it all the way back down to 5th, and then he's going to come right back to 6 just to get that draft, and it kind of does a little bit of a pull there. So on the long stretch, you're going to try to get up and get as much of the traction there. So you see, they're not necessarily out of the gas at any time. So the tire, right now, that's telling me that the tires are pretty good, and they don't really have to worry about handling issues right now.
Yeah, I think tire wear probably not too bad. I think the big question mark is going to be that aero wash. But yeah, right now what I'm seeing out of Matt, though, is, like you said, he's just trying to find right there. You see, he kind of straddles the middle between the 8, 9, and the 15, just trying to find the clean air there. But right now, looking a little further back, kind of a back and forth there with Charles Teed, AJ Hobson, kind of passed each other back and forth for a lap or so there a couple times, and that's brought Jeff Heisong right into the mix, our Las Vegas winner. So yeah, right now, like I said, I mean, we've got the whole field all just kind of packed up on each other. Here's Taylor Reeves working over Jim Herrick. But again, though, just got to find the clean air, and right now you see Jim just gets a big run there, able to get all that clean air on the front wing of that 40, and he swings right back on by that number 41 machine. As back up front, though, now here goes Jeff Heisong working on Charles Teed. And that's what I'm saying, it's all momentum right now, and Jeff almost had him clear but couldn't quite do it. And again, he gets the slightly dirty air from that car in front of him, and now Charles Teed gets that draft and pulls right back on by. That's how important this draft is for all these guys, and that's why they're all fighting so hard to stay in that position they're in.
Yeah, and when you're trying to make those spots, you see a big gap in front of them, and you get the draft, and you're like, oh, okay, I can pass them. But if you're not able to complete that pass, and you just parachute both, both of you guys around, all of a sudden you can't catch back up to everybody. As I think right now we see Charles T just trying to catch right back up to the end of this pack. Going to be a little bit difficult, but he's bringing some friends along with him, and I think just because we were seeing so many people attacking each other, he's going to catch right back up, and then it's going to be another like 10 car, 11 car, towing angle as we see, more snaking down the hill from the leaders. So it's always fun to see that, especially at that angle. That's one of the best angles I think I've seen here at Pocono.
Yeah, so right now I think really the only driver that has the best chance of making passes other than with the mistake up front is probably Nick DeGroot. I think he would be the one to be able to easily pass Yari, but again, it's not in Nick's interest to do that. He's thinking big picture fuel mileage. I think he saw what happened at Dover and decided, you know what, I'm not going to let that happen again. I don't want to get beat on fuel mileage, so kind of one of those things you got to play the game. As here goes Charles Teed again. He's going to dive. It's like it's a little bit of arrow push. Oh my goodness, I don't know how they got through that. AJ Hobson, Jeff Heisung, Charles Teed, that was inches. You probably could not fit a sheet of paper between those two cars.
Yeah, I was definitely respectful for him to, recognize that he probably wasn't going to make that corner without both cars being destroyed. So he definitely backed out, and now he can live to battle them again. So seeing it before where people kind of know that they're not going to make the corner, they're just going to try to use up the next car above them. So good on him for recognizing that and kind of just backing out and just trying to, be respectful right there.
Yeah, now you got Gary Corley starting to put some pressure back on Matt Wagner, of course, as well. Gary right now running in the 5th position here in that number 7. And again, you see everybody starts to just kind of move around, try to find that little bit more clean air if they can get away with it. Do need to mention still a couple cars off pace right now. And actually, we got Jim Herrick. Oh, Jim Herrick looks like he had an issue off of turn 1. He's down on the inside, up against the wall. There's the caution. Yellow flag is out, unfortunately. We'll have to go back and see what exactly happened to Jim here at the time of yellow. So we'll back it down a little bit here. You see Jim on the outside of, I believe that's Joseph Morales in the 60. And I think this might be one where just didn't quite have the room on exit. Not sure if he just got the dirty air or maybe a little bit of contact. And actually, I think he lost all his momentum out of turn number 1. The 41 just got into the back of him a little bit, and then from there, he looks like he was just along for the ride. It looks like maybe suspension broke because that car just cut hard left, almost like either something broke or maybe even a hardware issue for Jim. And yeah, that's a pretty big shot for that number 40 machine. Oof. So yeah, so you saw he went straight to take a tow. So this is going to change things though, Chris. Again, we talked about fuel mileage. We're going to have to see how this shakes out a little bit. So we'll jump back live here. Back up to Yari Brewpackers. He catches up to the pace car. There we go. Now we're back live. As they're going to head into the tunnel turn now. So everybody's going to pit. There's no questions there. We're going to be pitting at lap 21, it looks like. And again, the magic number to me was 23. So I do wonder, now it's, if you're going to save, you're going to have to save even more aggressively, or do you just say, you know what, I don't think I can back down my pace that much to save that number. So we might see a split strategy of kind of just full rich, go for broke, and others again might see a similar situation like with Nick where he's just kind of riding behind Yari. So and of course maybe see some topping off here on the one to go next time by. So we'll see what the strategy is here.
Yeah, I think a little short for these guys that wanted to pit. I think they could have stretched another 2 or 3 laps, possibly, is what we were looking at. So it's going to kind of throw a little bit of a wrench into everyone's plans right here. But as you can see, big pit lane really shouldn't have any issues people getting in. I'm not too sure what the strategy is going to be like for these leaders right now going into this. Now they have to, kind of cut their stuff by 2 or 3 laps. If I'm in the back, I'm probably going to go, into the pits again now that there's a lap down car, and the pits will probably stay open for one more lap.
Yeah, exactly right. With iRacing, also the bigger tracks, 2 miles and larger, so Pocono, Indianapolis, Auto Club, Michigan, they have quick yellows here. Apologies. They have quick yellows, and so what that happens with that is that what they do then is they actually have to basically pit the second time around. So the beneficiary of that one to me though is William Gunn. He goes now from 3 down to 2 down, and right now he is the highest car a lap or more down. He's going to roll into pit road right now, and it looks like on the battle off of pit road, looks like Yari Brewpacker going to win that fight, but Matt Wagner, he's going to jump around Nick DeGroot there, and he had a great pit stop. looking at Yari and Nick was about 8.48, 8.40 for Yari and Nick. Matt Wagner 7.75 seconds on his pit stop, so just that 7/10 of a second able to allow him to jump in front of that 89. Now Matt maybe he chooses to kind of be that one to just kind of stay on the toe of that number 49 machine.
Yeah, I think Matt's going to be in a decent spot right here where he can kind of just get his fuel game correct. He showed last week that he did very well on managing the fuel and managing the race. Where another yellow, kind of like right now, kind of screw up his plans right now. But I'm really interested to see what the guys in the back, like Dan Mora, Joseph Morales, Taylor Reeves, these guys are still sitting 11th, 12th, 13th. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those guys if they want to keep attacking. I think we saw a little bit of a hiccup on the restart here, but with single file restarts, I think they're going to go back to single file restarts. Everyone's going to be kind of spread out, but at that same time, as soon as the guys in the back have a run, they're going to have a way more longer time to dive down into turn one and possibly go 2 or 3 wide.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Joseph Morales the only one to roll onto pit road to top off here. Jim Herrick is back out on track as well, so he's going to catch up to the field. He is sitting Jim Herrick, great job by him. I believe he's going to cycle around just one down, so that's a great opportunity for Jim here as well. It'll unfortunately for William Gunn, that's going to now trap him as the second car 2 down, so that's going to be a little bit of a tougher sledding for him. But yeah, Joseph went ahead. He's the only driver here, Chris, to top off on this one to go. So that either tells me that either they think there's no way they can make it, or they said, you know what, we're going to restart at lap 23. We talked about lap 23 was the lap you needed to pit on. Again, these guys can run fuel map 8 under yellow, so we might still be right in the same window of now, instead of it being a 3-stop race versus a 4-stop race, now it's the window of maybe it's now a 2-stopper to the end versus a 3-stopper if you go full rich. So I think the telltale is going to be what Matt Wagner does behind Yari and see if he just does that same cruise control approach.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen during this restart. We already saw Yari, take control of the race, and we don't know if he was getting pushed a little bit too far where he might want to save a little bit of fuel, but obviously Nick was sitting right behind him where he was not making any passes, and we saw everyone else behind those two attempting passes and trying to get around each other, so they ended up pack racing for a little bit. So not sure if Yari's going to try to take a little bit of a more defensive approach, or he's going to let people by just so that he can start doing the fuel saving game and see what his car is like. But seems like he did like being out in front. I don't think he had a real problem with it, but we're coming to green here as the pace car is getting ready to dive down.
Yeah, pace car off, and look at Yari immediately goes straight to the throttle, straight to block the draft. As we're going to see that snake once more, and yeah, Matt's going to have to try to hustle a little bit here. He'll hold the draft, but look at Nick DeGroot, though, wasting no time. He's going to try to swing around that number 6 machine here. He'll have the nose here in turn 1, and looks like he will complete that pass. So Nick back into that P2 position here. And now again, yeah, Matt's going to have to tag onto the back of Nick not to lose that 3rd spot, as Luis Gonzalez was working him over. So, and say, give him another half lap or so. They'll probably tag right back onto the back of Yari, but we do have a little bit of separation. Taylor Reeves is about 1.2 seconds off of Dan Morera, so he's going to have to hustle to stay in this lead pack. But right now, everybody else looks like they're holding pretty much in step. It's just, again, it's going to take a couple laps. Oh, Nick DeGroot got the wall?
Yeah, I think he hit the wall. He's a little bit slow.
Let's go back. We're going to back it up here a little bit here to see if we can get a better view. And yeah, he definitely looked like he was pretty high there off of turn 3. So let's pick it up one more time. We'll slow it down here to get a better look here. But that could be a big storyline in the championship. You can see Yari is drifting up a little bit. Look at the dirty air. And I think he just scared it, but cost himself a ton of momentum. And that's what cost him those positions there from Matt and Yari. But while we were watching that, Matt's actually gone to the point in that number 6 car getting around Yari Brupacher. So this will be interesting now, Chris. Now this is the first time we've seen someone other than Yari kind of take control of this race. So now do we see Matt try to control the field, or do we see that leapfrog approach possibly by Matt and Yari to try to keep the pace of this race up?
Matt's very methodical in how he races, and he's always thinking about the numbers when he's on the track and just thinking about the cars that are around him. So I think he might try the leapfrog game where he wants to save, and we've seen how good and how great he is at saving fuel and able to kind of be the pit stop machine right now. So he might allow Yari to get right back around him, but right now I think he wants to see what his car can do out in front, see if he can defend a little bit. But after a while, you kind of just let the guy you let the guy behind you just go ahead and leapfrog you, so you can get that fuel mileage for getting back.
Yeah, you see right there, he went ahead and he stayed up high. Yari's going to swing low. And this could be in something that could allow them to sneak away potentially. As you see AJ Hobson and Luis Gonzalez starting to battle with each other. And there they go. See Yari had the lead. Matt's going to jump low here, entering Afo turn 1 into the tunnel turn. He'll take the point back. And this is where you kind of got to get it nailed down where, okay, where do I make the passes win to really maximize the speed between both cars. So you see again, Yari's going to stay in line here through 3. But I expect to see Yari get a big surge off of 3 in that draft and probably swing right on by. But again, you see Matt, though, doing this, dropping to the apron, this leads me to think Matt wants to keep control of this race and not let Yari by. So this is intriguing to see kind of what the official approach is going to be. Like I said, Matt may be thinking, hey, I don't think anybody can make it. Or if we keep the pace of this race up high enough, nobody else will be able to just sit and ride like they were in that first stage. So maybe Matt trying to force the pace of this race up a little bit faster.
And Yari, true to fashion, going to try to take it the hard way around, all the way around the outside, but doesn't make the pass completed yet, but he actually has some momentum going into the next turn, so we might see him down the front straight, go ahead and try to take over Matt right now. But we saw those two playing a leapfrog game, and they're actually getting away from everybody, so I don't know if they noticed that, but it was actually a pretty good strategy for them to go ahead and leapfrog and kind of, gap themselves between everybody.
Yeah, I think this is forcing the pace of this race to go faster than what some of those other guys are wanting, and I think that maybe puts a few guys out of that fuel mileage strategy to try to make it on 2 more stops at the end, kind of forcing the 3-stop strategy, and that's kind of in their incentive to do. To say if they feel like, hey, the faster we go, the harder it's going to be for anybody to save and make it to the end. I think that's the way to go, and that's what we see right now. Matt's going to jump back to the top. Yari should clear him. Actually, no, look at that, Matt. Great momentum out of 3. He's going to take the point. Yari should pick up the draft once more here down the front stretch. But also look at AJ Hobson. We haven't talked about him a lot tonight, but here he comes. He wants to join the party as well, and he's going to try to grab that second position entering turn number 1. It just depends on where that dirty air is going to be, and right now that dirty air is right in front of AJ, and he has to relinquish that spot still to Yari.
Anytime I do get in these Indy cars, which is very rare, but anytime we do an oval and I get into the dirty air, I'm so late to react to it that I'm always end up in the wall. So these guys do a very good job of figuring out where the car in front of them is going to cut them off, or what side of the track that they're going to need to be on for them to get good runs, and not only good runs, just being able to not put their car into the wall from getting tight and just aero wash and stuff like that. So get another pass for the lead here.
Oh, Taylor Reeves, I think, caught the wall off 3. Big hit. Ooh. He goes down to the inside wall there. So not the pit stop he was looking for there. Definitely was not by plan. Let's go back and take one more look at this for Taylor here. It actually looks like this happened all a little bit earlier for Taylor Reeves. So it's kind of a difficult tunnel turn. And then from there, I think, I'm sorry, turn 1. And then from there, it just got worse. Looks like this car was already having some damage. He was trying to limp around here. And yeah, you can see that car definitely wobbling around. So damage clearly. Ooh. Oh, yeah, close call there to that car to his inside. But here's where I think it got the really bad hit that we were just talking about. And you'll see, yeah, you can see he's just trying to catch it. And then just a little bit into the wall, and that sends him straight onto pit road here. But actually, I don't think he got it down to pit speed in time, but did get on pit road. Hopefully a fast repair remaining, not 100% sure, but we'll go back live because Matt and Yari are putting on a show up front here.
Yeah, a little tidbit of information. I think when you're racing in Indianapolis with these cars, the entrance and the cone where you have to be at the speed limit is a little bit deeper into the actual pit lane, but here at Pocono, it's right at that wall mark. So these guys definitely have to get down to pit speed very, very quickly. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he got a penalty for that and kind of compounded his troubles right there.
It looks like he is rolling off of pit road. And that car looks to be in one piece again. So I think, yeah, did have a 40-second stop and hold for the penalty for probably too fast on entry, but did have a fast repair. So he's back in the running here, which is great news for him. And right now, like I said, I think the pace of this race has really stepped it up here. And what I'm noticing about a bunch right now, though, is we talked about Nick DeGroot kind of just full fuel save. He's fallen all the way back to 8th position here behind Jeff Hysong. I think Nick's committing to the fuel save strategy, possibly in the 89 car, because again, you can see not putting any pressure really on Jeff, just trying to stay in his toe while Jeff's trying to catch up to those guys. So I think this strategy by Yari and Matt here to keep the pace up is throwing a few drivers off of maybe their strategy for what they would like to be doing. So that's something you can do. It's not all based on what they do. You can do things that can affect them as well. So I really like what I'm seeing here, as we've got just a little bit of a breakaway with the top 4. Gary Corley working his way up into the mix there as well in that number 7. Saying he is also having a good run so far this evening, but we still got lots of time to go. Just crossed the 3rd way of the race here on lap 33, coming 34 of 90. Again, everybody pitted at what, lap 20, Chris? So that means probably about 6-7 more laps here until we see most likely green flag pit stops here. Just again based on that rough number of 21 laps here. Oh, Matt Wagner tight off of turn number 1. I think he kept out of the wall there. That was almost mirror of what happened to Nick DeGroot earlier out of 3.
Yeah, they're still in the gas, and they're making a lot of passes right now. But a couple of times, look like these guys almost wanted to go 3 wide. Just a draft package that they have here is very great. So very close driving, and everyone's kind of being really careful not to hit each other. But we're seeing a little bit of tire wear, I'm thinking, is what these guys are having coming out of 3. So we've seen everyone that's wrecked so far kind of come out of 3. They got a little bit tight, but like we said, about 4 or 5 laps left till the fuel game right here, and none of these guys are really giving up or trying to back down. So Nick DeGroot seems to be playing the best strategy right now, where he's just kind of sitting in the back doing whatever he needs to do, as we see another attempted pass for 2nd place. And I think Matt's going to have a really good run right here.
Yeah, great run by Matt entering 3, and I think they've kind of nailed down where they want to make these moves, Chris. It seems like Matt makes the move out of the tunnel turn into turn 3, takes the lead, and then Yari takes it back out of turn 3 through the front stretch into turn number 1. So I think they've kind of got it kind of coordinated now, where they kind of can do that leapfrog with each other. But as I say that, it looks like these guys still fighting each other tooth and nail. So it may not be coordination more so than just these guys going after it tooth and nail, and they're just kind of catching each other when they do. As you see Gary Corley, he's gotten around AJ Hobson now for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, it's a wild race up front right now. None of these guys are kind of, leaving things as is. So they're definitely fighting, as we see Matt try to go back to the bottom. I'm not sure if he got enough of the draft right there, but it looks like he's going to get his nose out in front, the car out in front. But he leaves himself open right back to Yari's attack. So these guys are just leapfrogging, turn after turn right now. And then a little bit of a gap between first, second, and 3rd right now.
Yeah, and also a little gap between AJ Hobson to Luis Gonzalez. Just about 4/10, nothing major, nothing that they can't catch back up. But yeah, just a little bit of a drop back. But yeah, right now, these guys, like I said, I don't think this is actually planned though, Chris. I think these guys are just fighting very hard to keep control of this race right now. But at the same time, they probably both have very big smiles on their face, because it's really fun when you can run this hard and this well with each other.
Yeah, no real strategies kind of gone into this. I don't think these guys have really talked to each other about this. But as we're getting ready to close in on pit stops, interesting thing about this track is that the pit exit for these guys, where they're able to go right back on track, is right at the entrance of turn 1, as you're kind of seeing them go right now. Right about there is where you can go ahead and get right back on track. So if you have a group of cars coming right after you as soon as you come out of the pits, you got to kind of let them know, so you don't have a Kevin LePage moment, which I remembered who the driver was after a couple of days ago. But you don't want to have a Kevin LePage moment. As you can see, the apron is very skinny there, so you can kind of choose to ride the apron if you want to be the safe route, but it's going to be very tricky and treacherous with either warm or cold tires.
Yeah, and I think the right way to do that is, for sure, like you just talked about, I think you get on track, but I think that's where you really got to use your voice chumps, like, hey, exiting the pits, going to be on the low side, got to give me room, and that way everybody's ready. So what we should do, though, Chris, before we get to that pit stop, is let's run through the field here real quick, as we got Yari Brewpacker, at the point. Matt Wagner running in 2nd position in that number 6. And you got Gary Corley sitting in the 3rd position in that number 7. AJ Hobson 5 positions gained up into 4th. Luis Gonzalez Nunez sitting in the 5th spot. And you got Jeff Hysong, again, our winner at Las Vegas, there in 6th. Eric Peterson in 7th. And then Nick DeGroot, last week's winner at Dover, in the 8th position. then Christian Alessio. Haven't talked about Christian too much so far this evening, but he sits solidly in the 9th spot, right ahead of Charles Teed in that 50 in 10th. And then we got Dan Morera there in 11th position. And we got to go back about a second and a half to Joseph Morales, who sits 12th, still on the lead lap. And Dylan McIntosh in the 04 in 13th, also still in the lead lap. And then Joseph DeCiro in 14th, the last car on the lead lap. And then we jump back to Jim Herrick there, who is 15th, first car, 1 down. And then 2 down is that 14 right behind him of William Gunn. And then we got Taylor Reeves. We saw, unfortunately, that incident off out of turn number 3. He's back on track. Unfortunately, also 2 laps down in the 17th position. And then CJ Holloman, again, some sort of difficulties for that number 58 machine, but is on track, 11 laps down. But love to see the commitment. Just, as they say that, of course, just catches the wall pretty solidly there in turn 3. That's going to be a unscheduled pit stop for him. And definitely did not have that planned. And CJ, apologies for catching it right as it happened. But he does make it to pit road, so we will stay green. But we're going to jump back to our leaders here, though, Chris, because it is just about time here. Again, they all pitted at 20.
I heard a couple call-outs.
And that's right at the lap 21.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're good. That's right at the lap 21 mark.
I think I heard a couple call-outs that people wanted to pit in. They might have a couple fakes going on, because I think they also heard that CJ definitely hit the wall. But... should be a couple other people going in. I think right now this is where it's about to happen.
Yeah, it looks like no takers so far, so everybody stays out one more lap. So this takes us to 22 laps, I believe, since they last pitted. But again, you have to keep in mind, though, 2 of those laps were under caution. They can save a lot of fuel in their yellow. Remember you talked about tire wear, Chris. I'm noticing now Matt Wagner not able to keep up to pace with Yari here. Not sure if that's strategy or if that's something going wrong. And actually looks like Jeff Heisong, Luis Gonzalez Nunes, they're going back and forth there for just a moment. As I actually see Jeff Heisong, he's starting to drop a couple of spots here as Eric Peterson trying to work his way by. But looks like Yari Brupacher, he's our first. So that makes sense. Yari led a lot of laps. He's on pit road, and he's the only car on pit road. So this will be a good question mark for us now, Chris. What is the time loss track position-wise during a green flag pit stop? Will they get knocked down a lap or not? So this will be big to see. And of course, now we're going to see who can go how much further, because that's going to be the next question, is to see, can anybody maybe make it on that 2-stop strategy instead of a 3-stopper from when we had that yellow. So yeah, we'll see.
Yari just entered his pit stall about 2 or 3 seconds ago, and Matt just came around turn 2. So now he's at turn 3. So Yari will probably be around turn 1 coming to the first set of straights. As never mind, Matt's already in the pits too. So interesting to see. So Yari's already back on the track. He came out during turn 1. It was clear for him. So gonna be very interesting to see what the gain is, if the over or the undercut is going to be the advantage here.
Yeah, and saying Matt Wagner definitely hustled it in pit road. Hopefully got down to speed and time, so you can pit here and not lose a lap. So that's good to know. As right now, AJ Hobson had the lead for a moment. Now Gary Corley's going to try to take it as they hit the tunnel turn, and he will take the point in that number 7 machine. And then right behind him, I'll say AJ right there, Luis Gonzalez starting to tag on as well. So again, I say the question mark is going to be how far do they need to go before they can pit and make it on one more stop. But we got 2 hitting pit road now. That's going to be Gary Corley, AJ Hobson, and bringing in contact on the entry there. I think the 81, I want to say, got in way too hot, and that's going to be significant damage to AJ. Held onto the car, but will need a fast repair, and that's a tough break there for AJ. Thought he had everything taken care of, but I think, unfortunately, there's a little bit of connectivity issue for Christian Alessio. We'll speed it up here and take a look. As you see, he gets down to pit road, but then you can see he disappears for us. And then what you're going to see is he shows right back up with a huge head speed. Wow. Yeah, tries to avoid the forward, but unfortunately just too late. Maybe either got too late in the brakes, or again, that connection issue may have been, unfortunately, what cost him there. But as they go through pit road, we got Eric Peterson, Charles Teed on pit road, along with Dan Morera. And then here are the fuel savers, though. Nick DeGroot, Luis Gonzalez, Jeff Heisong, all still staying out here. So those that pitted right now, Matt Wagner, he's won this race off of pit road. He's actually clear of Yari Brupacher by just under 2 seconds, which basically prevents Yari from stealing the draft off that number 6 car. So Matt wants to hustle this thing as hard as he can to keep Yari out of his draft. That way he can just stay away and run his own race at this point. But now the question mark is going to be the fuel mileage here. Is going to be, can anybody stop it at this point when they hit pit road? So we'll be doing math as soon as we get pit stops completed. As here comes Luis Gonzalez, he's going to pit. Jeff Heisong's going to pit. Joseph Morales is going to pit. And there he goes, Nick DeGroot. He's going to go for the long run here, trying to save fuel. We'll see if Nick can make some magic happen here as we're at 44 to go.
Yeah, so very interesting. When you're doing the overcut like Matt did to Yari, you have almost a little bit of a timetable where you can only run 2 to 3 more laps, to get overtake on these guys. So right now, the thing I want to see is where's Nick DeGroot going to come out, where Matt Wagner is coming to start finish right now. Let's see where Nick's at. I'm not too sure right now, but
yeah, Nick's coming out like 3.
Yeah, so Nick's coming out 3, and now he's coming out. Yeah, now he's going to be on pit road. Not sure if the overcut's going to extend this much, but what we saw Matt do the Yari was, kind of textbook overcut strategy. So I'm not sure if Nick's going to get out in front of these guys. We'll see. We'll see here in a minute, as it's a very long drive down to his pits.
Yeah, same. Being in pole sitter as well, he's got to go all the way to the absolute very end. But what I'm looking at though, Chris, is he's pitting here at 43 to go. And we talked about the magic number being about 22 to 23 laps. So he can do it from here on one more stop to the end. That being said, the question about if he's going to get ahead of Matt, the answer is going to be no, because Matt's already long gone here. So now Nick's biggest approach here is he's got to find draft here. Again, he can't just now go full song the rest of the way. He's going to have to find some guys to tag onto the back of, and he's going to get that opportunity. He's going to pop in right behind the 4, it looks like, of AJ Hobson. And this is exactly what he wants. So right now we've got a 2-car breakaway here. Matt Wagner has about a second lead over Yari. So Yari has closed the gap here. They're going to get into the drafting range of one another, but then they got to go about 2 seconds back to Luis Gonzalez, who's leading that second pack. So Luis not in this main draft pack. So right now Matt and Yari, they could try to work together to break this field apart, but again, I'm watching the field numbers right now, and looking at the laps when everybody pitted. With Luis leading right now, I think that might cost him chances of trying to save that field and make it to the end, unless he saves very aggressively right now behind Gary Corley from this point on. But Nick DeGroot, I think he's in a very, very good spot fuel mileage wise. So because even if Matt and Yari, if they try to set sail, you're not going to be able to basically make a big enough gap over one pit stop. So I think I like where Nick is sitting, but again, we still got 41 laps here at the line to see what's going to be the right choice.
Yeah, definitely. And I think these guys did take tires. It seems like everyone kind of stayed into the pits, long enough for them to swap out their tires. We saw Matt not take a big risk at the end of that pit run that he was getting ready to have. So tires might be an effective thing, once we get to the last 3 or 4 laps of the pit cycle. So something to be, taking note of for these guys. But like you said, Nick DeGroot might be sitting in a very nice spot right now, where he can almost do the opposite of reverse thing that Matt did last week. So it's gonna be a
it may not matter. Caution is out. William Gunn around through just outside of the tunnel turn. You see he's got it locked down. So great job by William to wait for everybody to clear, and then he's going to loop that car around, try to see if he can limp it back to pit road. But now this changes everything, Chris, because we're at 40 to go. Caution is out. Everybody who pits here will easily be able to make it to the end in one stop, but we might see some strategy from a Nick DeGroot or company who say, you know what, I could have made it already. I'm just going to stay on and get all my track position back. So this is going to be a very intriguing one. Let's go see if we can find what happened to William here, unfortunately, though, as that brought out our yellow. So we're going to hunt down for that number 14. You already see him in the tunnel turn already sideways. So let's back it up a little further here. I think I just saw it right there. It was working over Charles Teed. Caught just a little kiss of the apron here. And these cars we've talked about week in, week out, they do not like the apron.
Yeah, he probably just caught just enough of it just to sit in the car. Just around, just to upset it. And with these Indy cars, you can't really catch them, kind of like the Gen 7 cars and anything NASCAR related. So looks like he gets his tires right on the yellow, a little bit underneath, and just slides. And if he decides to, overcorrect and try to dart to the right, it's going to be over. But at the same time, we just see the car overcorrect, and he just barely lets the
Dan Marrero, yeah.
He barely lets Dan Marrero by.
And we'll back it down one more time, because this is all slow-mo. It looks nice and easy for Dan. But when these guys are going 200 plus here, we'll hop on board here and we'll watch at speed. Watch how quick Dan has to react to this.
Yeah, you see Dan right now, his eyes are huge, and then he sees the car coming in, his eyes are even bigger.
Yeah, that's a moment there for Dan. And what we're going to do, though, is we're going to jump back live because we do have pit stops happening. Matt Wagner leading the field onto pit road. Gary Corley, Joseph Morales, they're opting they stay out. So the other option here for Nick DeGroot is I think we might see some fuel-only pit stops for these leaders here. See if we see these cars pop up. Matt's taking tires. Looks like Yari's taking tires. But look at Nick. That car did not pop up, and there he goes. He's going to jump a ton of spots from that. Great strategy by Nick. Oh, close there between Yari and Luis there. But Nick's going to cycle out in third position because, as I mentioned, Gary Corley, Joseph Morales, they stay out. So we'll step away for just a moment, catch our breath here, and we're going to get things going back on the one to go, so stay tuned. Alright, lights are off of the pace car going through the tunnel turn. Do need to mention it looks like Christian Alesio got one of his 2 laps back, so he is now sitting in the... Oh man, actually if those 2 leaders had stayed out or had pitted, he would have actually got the waiver and to be just on the lead lap again. So that's a tough break for Christian there. But he is going to be right now 3rd in line, but again, he is the first car 1 lap down and the only car 1 lap down, so he's in a good spot there. But it's going to be Gary Corley, Joseph Morales, who stayed out, pitting at lap 44 and 46 here, Chris. Nick DeGroot at 51, fuel only. A.J. Hobson, fuel only. Matt Wagner, the first on 4 tires. So we're going to see what these guys have on this restart.
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do as we have another big gap at the front of this race. I definitely would be caught off guard if it was me, because we already see some guys in the middle of the pack fighting already, but the leaders are already gone.
Yeah, it was a great start for Gary and Joseph. I think they were able to take advantage of the lap car there just a little bit as they start to build speed up. Again, Nick is safe. He's in the draft. He's going to be able to chase these guys back down, so no risk of losing the main pack here. But like I said, Gary Corley, though, he's got some track position that I'm sure he's been loving to have for a long time here. The question mark is, can he make it to the end on one stop if we go green to the end, or is he maybe banking on a late yellow in this one? As Nick DeGroot, though, he's going to try to roll the high side. He's going to clear Joseph Morales, grab position number 2, and now he's got his sights set on Gary Corley. He's going to try to get to the point as, again, the snaking continues. Nick's trying to decide. He goes up, he goes down. He's going to send it into turn number 1, try to take the lead back of the race, and he will. Nick DeGroot back to the point. Oh, tight off of 1, able to stay in it, but look at the momentum Gary gets off of 1.
Yeah, Nick hasn't been up front in a while. He's just been kind of sitting in second, and then he decided to sit back. So almost smacked the wall and ended his whole race right there. But he's in front. He can kind of do what he does best, and that's just control the race while the rest of these guys try to come back and attack him.
And that's going to be the question is now, where does the pressure come from? Right now, the first driver on tires is Matt Wagner. But again, they hadn't pitted that long before, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a deficit for Nick or even for AJ Hobson sitting there in 4th. So it's going to be intriguing to see kind of if there is a tire difference or not for these guys, or if the aero makes enough of a difference for everything. But like I said, right now for Nick, though, he's loving what he's got because he's got clean air. He doesn't have to worry about fuel anymore. He can just go basically full rich and doesn't have to stress over anything else behind him now. So I say now that fuel saving strategy is pretty much over for at least those that pitted. I'm still a little nervous for Gary and for Joseph, but we'll see what happens here. But right now, Nick's going to continue to lead here. And again, if Gary just chooses to stay in the tire tracks of Nick, stay in that draft, save fuel, that could make life very, very difficult from 3rd on back to find a way around to put any challenge on that 89 of Nick DeGroot.
Yeah, right now it's kind of just, set your strategy in motion. There's not really too much of a variable of fuel that you need to save right now. We have 34 laps to go. So if you're somebody like Matt, he can kind of just sit back, use his tires, and save them, effectively until these guys are going to have a little bit of trouble coming off the turns. He can just pick everyone off kind of one by one. But they're in the pack right now by themselves, 5-car pack, and we see a little bit of a pass or 3rd right now, a little bit of a bobble. But yeah, these guys are in a 5-car pack. They don't really need to worry about anyone behind them until they start wanting to race each other.
Yeah, you see a little bit of momentum loss there for Joseph out of turn number 3. Cost him 1 spot, almost possibly costing him 2, but Matt can't keep the momentum there. Had a little bit of dirty air there, couldn't make the pass happen, so Joseph holds on to 4th for now. And now actually looking back at AJ Hobson through the tunnel turn. And again, looks like he's going to have to roll out of it just a little bit. This will compromise his exit here. You can see how much ground Matt is able to gain there just off that tunnel turn as he dives it into turn number 3. But again, you can see Joseph's able to roll the outside so well, keep the momentum, keep that car wound up, and just swings right by that number 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to really be able to kind of take it to Nick DeGroot without Nick kind of making a mistake right now. Seems like he's able to get out in front, get the good lines, and stay out in front a significant margin before a car can, before we can get Gary Corey to suck up right back into him. So as you see right now, he's actually making the pass. I'm not sure if Nick's going to give it up or just, decide to do the leapfrog. So, I'll chew my own words right now where Nick's getting passed by 2 cars. So he might be going for the strategy of trying to sit back again as he's fighting for the lead on the outside. I'm not sure what's going on with these guys.
I don't think there's any saving going on right now. I think they all want to have control. And yeah, you're right. I think AJ saw the opportunity. He said, I'm going to jump in this fight as well. And that's just bringing more and more drivers back in. Joseph Morales is just peeking in Matt Wagner right there as well again. So Nick does get the lead back, but you can see, though, Gary's going to show him, hey, I'm not just going to sit back and ride here. I want to get up there. I want to be a part of this. As now Matt Wagner is going to try to make a look under Joseph entering the tunnel turn. Let's see if he can hang on to it. Looks like he will clear. Now, can he keep the momentum? It looks like he will. So move Matt up safely now into 4th. And again, everybody's trying to jockey for that clean air on the front wings of these cars. You see Matt went as low as he could, but look how much he pushes. Almost catches the wall there after 3, but just hangs onto it. That was tight between that 6 car and the outside wall as Gary Corley going back to the point.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any real chance of defending once you take a pass over somebody. So if you're able to defend them on the first time that they try to attack you, you can kind of get that lap led and try everything that you can. But as we see, Nick just went for the pass. Depending on how this corner works out, he might get passed as he goes into turn 3.
Yeah, and I think this is also, I think these guys are going to start to learn, try to jockey and figure out, okay, where do I need to position myself in 3, in 2, where do I need to make the move to try to take the lead? Because right here, you see Gary, he makes a move back low, but at that point, he's already past the start-finish line, so Nick would have won that race at that point. Again, we still got 29 laps to go. So, but these guys are going to be thinking about, Gary's going to say, okay, I made that move in 3. It's not soon enough. I'm going to probably have to get him in the tunnel turn, and that is going to be the winning move. So like right here, Nick, once again, he's going to take the lead going in through the tunnel turn, and then Gary's going to get the momentum again off the tunnel turn. But again, it seems like Nick's able to hold the point though through the start finish line, and so I think that's going to be where these guys have to make those adjustments.
Yeah, you gotta think of yourself as if you're that third or fourth car, where can I make that advantage where these guys are coming through? We saw AJ Hobson, get real close to Gary Corley as he was sitting back as they're, swapping for the lead right now again. So I think he's a little too close to really try to take over Nick and, gain two, make Nick go down 2 spots. So it's kind of the thing where you we have a wreck.
Oh, caution out. Yeah, Dan Morera involved. Oh, turn number 1 here. That's going to bring a yellow out with 28 to go, and on lap number 63. And yeah, that car definitely has some significant damage. Unfortunately, we just talked about how good of a wreck avoidance he had earlier. Not the case this time, unfortunately, gets involved in it. So we'll go back. Let's try to see what happened to Dan here, as it looks like it was in 1 and 2. So we're going to watch that number 26 machine, get a better look at him here. As right now, looks like he's just to the outside. I believe that's the 41, if I'm not mistaken, of Taylor Reeves. So we'll see maybe some contact on the entry, and that's exactly what it was there. Dan was trying to turn in. Taylor wasn't quite making his entry, and that just puts Dan straight up into the wall. So kind of one of those situations. It kind of looks like fighting for the same real estate, but yellow does come out. And I believe beneficiary of this will be the 81 of Christian Alesio. You see Dan, he's going to make it to pit road. However, caution is out. Christian, he's going to be a very happy camper because this will put him back on the lead lap here. Again, he's been having to work from a deficit pretty much from the get-go tonight. So here's the time now, Chris, though. Again, we're going to be pitting. It's outside the field window. Nobody's going to be able to make this on one more stop to the end. So I think we will still see, I think these drivers will pit here. I think it's going to be 4 tires in field, no question. But then is now where things get interesting. What strategy do you want to do when you get to that final window, which would be in about 5 laps time from the restart? Do you pit early, pit as early as you can? Do we see some teamwork? Maybe drivers maybe say, hey, pit with me. We'll take a splash of fuel. We leapfrog the rest of the way, try to jump the field. And then if we get a yellow, they all have to pit. We can stay out. So this is going to be very interesting for strategy. I think we're going to see team play is going to come into this one, very important.
Yeah, with 21 to 23 laps is what you're going to need. We have 27 to go with, I think, either 2 or 3 laps of caution. These guys haven't made their pit stops yet, so what you're going to do right now, which will push them about 26 to go. So if you're really risky and you're not trying to win the race and you hope that it goes green the rest of the way, you can put your gear mapping all the way down to about 4 or 5 and just kind of coast. Going to be really risky to do that, though, just to try to get two extra laps, but not sure what I would want to do here. I might be one of the guys that take a pit here. It's a long way around this track, and I'll probably come in, one more time just to top off whatever I just lost, and it'll be probably about 24 laps before we go back to green. So these guys could make it if they try to save 1 whole lap or 2 whole laps while running green, but not trying to race for the lead.
Yeah, see, once again, strategy, another one in here. It looks like Gary Corley going to win the race off pit road. Or, I'm sorry, Luis Gonzalez going to win the race off of pit road. Fuel only for the 15 car. Nick DeGroot, the first of 4 tires. However, look in front of him. Jari Brupacher stays out in that 49 car. He's going to take the point. So what we're going to have here is Jari's going to have a longer pit stop when he has to take fuel. But right now he has the track position. So I'm skeptical, Chris. I don't think anybody's going to be able to pull a 24 lapper on fuel, even if they go full lean map 5 kind of situation. We've seen crazier things happen. Someone might try and say, hey, you know what? We were saving hard on the first stint. Because I will say, what was our magic number for that one again? I think it was, let's find out, 23 laps. So that's, you know what, Chris? That's only 1 more lap. So if someone's a gambler, I mean, honestly, yeah, let's go to like Joseph DeCiro, Christian Alesio, just getting his lap back. I mean, Christian's going to have to restart at the back anyway. Why not pit here, like you said, get the fuel, top off, and maybe just go full save? I mean, we've seen crazier things, and I mean, it's definitely worth the strategy. I don't think we're going to see anybody in the top 5 hit pit road here, maybe outside the top 10, like maybe around Joseph Morales. Looks like, yep, and actually, yeah, here we go. Joseph is going to be one. He was one that topped off earlier in the race. Charles Teed's going to come in as well. So it looks like we do have a few drivers going for the fuel mileage. Christian Laisho, he did need to pit anyway. He had yet to pit under yellow. So this is going to get fun here. We've got now a fuel mileage strategy. We've got when to pit, because there's just so much window here, Chris. Do you want to pit early? Do you want to pit late? You know you can pit without losing a lap, so I feel like you want to pit early, but at the same time, I mean, when you treat this kind of like a Talladega, you're probably faster in a pack than by yourself. Do you want to pit early and lose the draft pack and possibly be running slower lap times than those that maybe stay out a lap or two longer?
If I know I got a fast car, I can definitely save some and get by some of the slower traffic. Seems to be only about 6 cars really that are able to catch up and stay with that main pack without any real trouble. So if I have one of those 6 cars, or if I feel that my car has a little bit more in it, I'm probably going to go in the second pit and just get that little bit more, and I'll just save. I'll take the chance and try to go green, because worst case scenario, you can save while everyone else has to go into the pits again. And if we have another caution, you're already going to be back in, I think, fuel map 8. So I don't think there's really a big risk to, kind of sitting in the back and just trying to save and, dropping your fuel map to, 2 or 3 clicks back.
And actually a good point too, Chris, is if we get a yellow, that kind of changes where, like I said, you're going to be running 2 very long laps here, and you can run the caution map, which is very lean, saves a lot of fuel, so maybe you don't even pit anymore if we get another yellow. So yeah, this is all up in the air. This is going to be fun to see. That's what we're here to see. Is there's going to be strategy. There's going to be those that go for outright pace. There's going to be those that try to do the short pit. There's going to be those that try to save to the end. So we'll see what the winning strategy is as Jari Brubacher drops the hammer. We're back to green. He's got Luis Gonzalez, Nick DeGroot, Gary Corley, and AJ Hobson chasing him down. 24 to go.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see who actually wants to race and who actually wants to save. So we might see a whole change in strategy for some of these guys, but these guys might be staying right on course where they want to go ahead and attack each other as much as possible. Kind of just hoping for a wreck right now. So, I mean, if we get a caution right now, everyone's good to the end, I believe.
Yeah, the only driver that has to pit for sure will be Jari Brubacher. There's no question he will have to pit at some point in this race, as he last pit at lap 51, so he's going to have to come in. The question, of course, is going to be when for Jari. But yeah, I don't know for sure for these others, and that's going to be what's fun to see, is how aggressive do we see Nick DeGroot, do we see Luis Gonzalez? Do they say, you know what, there's no way we can make it happen, we're just going to back down and save? But what we do have on this restart, though, is once again the pack kind of split up a little bit. Right now you got 9 cars, Taylor Reeves being the last of those on the lead lap, and then you've got about a second, 1.7 seconds back to the second pack of Dylan McIntosh, who looks like just about kissed the wall there. He's leading the second pack, who's just outside the draft here, including a handful of those that topped off, like Charles Teed, Joseph Morales, Christian Laisho. So they're in a tougher spot here. So we'll see what the strategy is, but right now I'll say while we're looking at that, we do have a new leader, Luis Gonzalez, to the point.
Yeah, and if I'm Jari right now, I probably just take my chances and go ahead and go to the pits. You're not going to lose a lap, but you're definitely not going to have any drafting help. But you'll be great to the end. So if you can do that and there could be a wreck, you're probably going to be set while the rest of these guys are going to have older tires, somewhat older tires, and you can make your way back up as he's going for the lead again. That was a pretty big move.
Yeah, Jari going back for the point. We're looking a little bit further back there because Jeff Heisong, he's actually lost some touch of those guys in front. He's about a second back of AJ Hobson. So Jeff, same thing. He's going to have to try to chase these guys back down, which means, again, going to have to burn more fuel. Probably can't make it to the end without stopping. So we're kind of focusing on a couple things here. Like I said, Jari back to the point. He just wants to lead this race. But yeah, you can see right there, Jeff Heisong about 9/10 back now. Matt Wagner under attack from Eric Peterson. Eric taking the look down low. You wonder, is Matt maybe not fighting too hard by choice, or maybe something not quite where he needs it to be in that 6 machine? As now there goes Taylor Reeves. He's going to try to make a move here as well. So right now we've got looks like a couple of alternating strategies going on with a couple of these guys here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Matt shouldn't be saving. I don't think he should be saving if he's, where he pitted. So might have a little bit of issues. I didn't see him getting to the wall or having any issues. And once he was up front, he was a pretty dominant force. So Not sure if he's just going to get his rhythm back or anything like that, but he's getting passed again, and seems like these guys are kind of trying to be a little bit more aggressive.
And Christian Lacho on pit road here, coming to 20 to go. So we'll see if this is a scheduled stop. Not sure if he had any miscues, so we'll try to watch real quick to see if he hops up for tires or fuel only here. Might just be a splash of fuel for this 81. And we'll see, of course, also hopefully a clean entry there as he hits his pit stall now. And looks like, nope, tires going on. So he's going to take tires and fuel in the 81. So this will be a little bit of a slower stop for him, and right now hasn't got rolling in. So I think penalty for his pit stop, unfortunately. So that's a tough break for Christian there. So that's going to take him out of the running. But up front, these guys still going after it. And again, Matt Wagner, he's still in a dogfight with that number 41 of Taylor Reeves. As now Taylor's going to clear him on the outside, gets that clean air. Dan Marrera is trying to chase these guys back down, and he's kind of leading that charge here. And I'm watching Charles Teed. I think Charles is definitely thinking fuel mileage here. As I said, he goes around Joseph DeCiro. But again, that's the hard part now is he lost so much ground here. He's got to kind of, again, probably burn a little bit of fuel to try to catch the draft. So it's that risk versus reward for some of these guys. So this is going to be fun to see what if we stay green. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. What's going to be the right strategy? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very tight to stretch it all the way on fuel, but you know someone at some point is going to try it out. So right now, Yari and Luis, they're just kind of switching back and forth. Nick's kind of just holding steady. Maybe he's trying to save a little bit of fuel in the 89 car. Don't think it'll be enough to make it to the end per se, but crazier things have happened as well. So, but again, Chris, the other thing you can do here, if you just save aggressively now and pit as late as you can, you'll be able to put a little bit less fuel in your car. Kind of do the saving now, if you will, and then instead of burning it all at the end. So right now it looks like no early takers for that potential splash at the end. So either these guys are just running long, or they think that they might be able to make it to the end, it's looking like.
Yeah, Yari's run 23 laps on this set, but obviously we had a couple of those caution laps, so you probably see him in the next 5 laps come in. There's just no way he can stretch this all the way to the end. And he kind of made his bed with that, you know, hoping and kind of betting on caution to happen. So if it doesn't happen in the next 5 laps, I think Yari's kind of just done for this race. As we say it...
Oh, caution, you're right.
Commentator's curse, I swear.
Oh, and it's our last week's winner, Nick DeGroot, around, I believe, Gary Corley also involved. And that's the caution that Yari probably was looking for, but honestly, probably some other guys were looking for as well, as Nick's going to go on by. So we'll go back, we'll take a look at this, because a lot of things happened in a very short matter of time right there. So let's back it up here a little bit, and we're going to go focus on that number 9, or sorry, the 89 and the number 7. There's Gary on the inside of Nick here. This is a battle for third as they hit that tunnel turn, and we'll see how this one unfolds. And I mean, again, everybody's getting a little more aggressive. We did see some apron touching a little earlier tonight. We'll see if that's maybe the same situation. But I think what happens for Gary, yeah, he just gets all the arrow push there as he was behind 2 cars there in line. And unfortunately just couldn't get off of the side of Nick DeGroot. Nick tried to give him all the room he could, just wasn't enough, and they make some pretty significant contact as Gary actually almost goes up and over there for a split second and just kind of bounces a fair bit. Yeah, so some pretty good air there. And it looks like everybody else, though, very good awareness, great heads up here. They all just sneak on by there, so good heads up for these guys. So that will put us under yellow here as we get, that car is he's crab walking that thing to pit road for Gary Corley. It looks like Nick DeGroot, he's going to try to limp this thing around to be able to pit under caution. But yeah, this will be, I think, Yari Brubacher. I think for sure we'll see Yari in, and I do not think we'll see anybody else hit pit road here. And from here, Chris, all bets are off. These guys are going to be going at it tooth and nail.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Nick, who was doing the save game and everything like that. Looked like just 2 guys coming together for the same real estate. Obviously, that arrow push definitely affected the outcome of that wreck right there. So unfortunate for those guys, but this landed right back in Yari's kind of ballpark right now, where he's able to go get the fuel, not sit all the way in the back of the field, and kind of, you know, it gave him exactly what he needed at the exact right time. So I think he was only about a lap or 2 from coming in.
Yeah, I think this, like I said, I mean, it's still going to hurt for Yari because he's going to lose all that track position. However, like you said, at the same time, though, I don't think this is as bad of a hit as it could be, because now, like you said, he's going to be able to jump back up and be. He's going to restart, looks like, in 9th position instead of probably around 14th or so. So, yeah, I think this is honestly a net gain for Yari. And now this is going to shake up the running order once again. It's going to put Luis now to a point. He's been up here a good chunk tonight, but again, it's been kind of just ebb and flow who's had what win. But then you got AJ Hobson, Jeff Heisung, our top 3, and then Eric Peterson, Matt Wagner, our top 5. And I mean, even look at Dan Marrero, Chris. We just talked about him. He was, I believe, the previous incident in that 26 car, now restarting in that 6th position. So he got his fast repair, and he's been able to keep that car clean. Now he's going to be in the thick of this thing as well. Charles Teed right there as well. So this is going to get very, very dicey, very aggressive. These guys are going to be probably trying to go 2, 3, 4 wide here when they get these opportunities. Now I don't think there's going to be any lifting.
Yeah, we might see more crashes happen here now that everyone's kind of, they're good to go. They don't have to worry about saving. They don't have to worry about with the laps counting down. They can kind of just go all out. So going to be very interesting to see. We have Luis, who I don't think has led the race yet. So a lot of these guys have, they've been up there, but they haven't been able to lead. And once you get that clean air, it's an absolute difference of air, air density, just everything that's going on. So defending is going to be very hard for these guys. I think if you're the leader coming out of 3, you'll get past going into 1. But if you're on that last lap, you're coming out of 3, I think you're going to have that thing won.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think the magic spot to be is leading, entering 3. If you can do that, I don't think they'll be able to get around you through 3 to the start-finish line. So, Duty mentioned William Gunn gets one of his 2 laps back, so he is now 1 lap down as he's on pit road. So for William, he's saying, hey guys, just one more quick yellow. That would be good for me to get into the thick of this thing, because I want to have a chance to win this race as well. So, again, you never want to have cautions, but at the same time, when you're in that spot, and when you're the only one that's going to be eligible for that position, you kind of want them. So for William here, he's going to be, like I said, 2 down to 1 down now. Lights are off the pace car. Chris, we're going to restart with 13 to go. And you can tell everybody's saving as much fuel as they humanly can right now in these things. Again, probably everybody on map 8, probably clutching it. Hopefully nobody's shutting these things off, because these cars do not have starters. So if they stall them and they can't get them refired, you're going to be in for a bad time as well. So and right now you can see, like I said, everybody's kind of, you got a couple that are staying right on top of each other. You got a couple that are laying back a handful of tenths of a second. So everybody's got their different strategies of how to save fuel right now. So this is going to be fun. Luis has got control of this one as they come out of the tunnel turn, going to head into 3. And then from there, like I said, it's, at this point now, we've got a 13-lap sprint race to the end.
Is all or nothing for some of these guys. A lot of these guys haven't won the race here yet in the series, so I would be expecting them to defend for all it's worth. This is a very fun track. I think if you're ever getting into Indy cars when you get on iRacing, this is one of the first tracks that you should definitely try whenever it comes up on the schedule. Very fun. It teaches you how to change all the adjustments in the car and just the draft package with everything right now. As we have the cars going to green, not as much of a big gap right now, but we do see a breakaway of 4 cars with 3 cars almost going 3 wide in turn 1, all the way in the back.
Yeah, there you go. Matt Wagner, Dan Marrero, Charles Teed. And yeah, Matt didn't get the start he was looking for there, as Dan was able to get to his outside, but Matt's gonna clear him, and he's gonna get back into that spot. As now Charles Teed, actually, he was under attack from Joseph Morales. Joseph did a great job up top there, and he's gonna grab that spot from Charles as they head into the tunnel turn. But up front though, AJ Hobson, he got around Luis Gonzalez here. So like I said, we'll watch and see here, because right now AJ in the lead in ring 3. We'll see if he's able to hold it at the point for the start-finish line, because again, I think that's the telltale here. And you can see easily going to hold on to lead there at the start-finish line as AJ Hobson leads the race here with 12 to go.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see here. It looks like they almost want to go 3 wide into this corner again with AJ Hobson. Man, I thought they were going to try it right there. But Luis Gonzalez gets the outside. He gets the good run, so he might be able to... It looks like he wants to do the outside again.
Yeah, AJ didn't.
Going into the corner.
AJ was squeezing him there. Said if you're going to take the outside, you're going to have just the minimal amount of room there, as AJ holds on to it. But now this is going to be a good one here, because AJ is going to have to run low. I believe that'll force Luis high. As I say, look at that. AJ is going to steal Luis's line up top there. Made Luis have to react to it. and he's again going to hang on to the point there. And again, at the line, AJ Hobson leads that lap, so that's the timing. And yeah, it looks like AJ, he wants to stay down on the low side, wants to make Luis take the high side around him. So this is very interesting. It looks like these guys are starting to think about where they need to position their cars if they can make the passes, because you can see AJ does not want to give up that inside line.
Yeah, very smart defender right now from AJ right now. I've not seen that all night tonight during this race. So very smart defending. He's going to have to commit that. Oh, we have a wreck.
Trouble in the back. Matt Wagner, and I believe it was the 36 of Eric Peterson.
I don't think there's a caution yet.
No, still no yellow, but it looks like William Gunn also involved in an incident here and still somehow staying green with all of this. So right now we're still going, and right now this is the battle for the front. But let's go back real quick here, try to take a look, because it looks like there's a moment with Joseph DeCiro and William Gunn here. We'll speed up and take a look as, oh yeah, you see Joseph got kind of hooked on the wall, and then unfortunately got into the side of the 14, and that's where Joseph's damage happened. And then just in front of them, this is where Matt Wagner and who was that? Eric Peterson made contact. So we'll go back and we'll try to take a look at Matt's car here. And I say got just a little bit too late there, so we'll back it up one more time here, and then we'll focus on the front runners. And oh, I think a little bit of contact, maybe net code between Matt and Eric, and then unfortunately in Eric trying to catch it, got back into Matt. So we'll jump up front. We're back live here because it is all to play for here. Right now, AJ and Luis still fighting for that top spot. This time, Luis has the inside line here. He's going to clear entering turn number 1. And also you see Nick DeGroot starting to peek his nose into this fight as well, as I believe Eric Pearson probably limping a little bit of damage there, probably not quite having the top end that he's looking for. And as you see, again, AJ actually gets the lead back into the tunnel turn here as we've got coming to 8 to go this time.
Yeah, AJ's still doing a good job defending where he needs to keep Luis behind him. As we see Nick go all the way to the bottom and get a 2-for-1 right there. So amazing right there what he just did. He's probably going to get 3 all in one straight. So yeah, it's like Nick straight to the lead.
2 turns, 3 positions. Nick DeGroot to the lead. That is a big move out of that number 89. So now we'll see, can AJ do anything to get the pressure back onto Nick? And again, we saw AJ, he kind of wanted to protect the inside line. Nick DeGroot doing the same here. AJ's going to have a nose head entering the tunnel turn. This will be good. If they can stay side by side entering 3, this is what I want to see, Chris. I want to see where the momentum is here, because I think this could be how this thing's going to come to the checkered flag if we stay green to the end. And you can see right there, Nick able to run that short distance and stay ahead. And you can see right there, the 4 cannot get back to his rear wing there before they hit the start-finish line. So that's what these guys are going to be gunning after, is to figure out where they position their cars. Is this time AJ Hobson just for a second was cleared of Nick, but couldn't quite cut down in front of him. And now they have that drag race off of turn 1.
Yeah, definitely going to have to sit there and force that outside line right now. So he's already taken over. Nick's not going to make the pass right here, but he's definitely going to have a good run coming out of this turn. So AJ's going to have to figure out how to do his defending tricks that he did earlier. But it's not over for just these two. These other guys behind them, they're definitely waiting to see what happens. So we might have a wreck with the leaders in a second.
Yeah, that's exactly as they're going to try to position themselves. Like I said, I think Eric's still limping a little bit of damage, but is doing as best as he can as we're at 6 to go. And again, AJ able to get low of Nick, entering 1. But what I noticed there, though, was, again, Nick was able to get around him and able to be at the lead at the start-finish line. And that's going to be the thing that's going to be what makes or breaks this race. Is you got to figure out where you got to position your car here to win this race. And it doesn't matter if you're ahead of him at the end of the straightaway, as long as you're there. Because again, start-finish line's pretty close out of turn number 3. You don't have to go too far of a run there out of 3 to get to the line. So yeah, so this is the crucial point. Again, you see Nick able to stay in front here at that point. So this is where maybe AJ Hobson might need to think about changing where he makes the pass. As a little bit of smoke there in the background there. It looks like a little bit of connection issues for Jeff, but it looks like he's gathering it back up. But yeah, I think for AJ, he's going to have to try to do something a little different. But again, at the same time, you don't want to risk giving up the track position, because if we get a yellow, we're at 5 to go here. We would still get a we would still get a restart, but there are no green-white checkers here. So it's a tough position to be in here, Chris. Do you want to just wait, time your move? As here goes the 4, he's going to dive it low in 3. This is a good opportunity here. This would be the drag race coming to the line for a potential photo finish here. and right there it would go to, I couldn't tell, that was too close, but that's what AJ has to do in turn number 3 if we get to that white flag.
Think that would have gone to AJ right there, but AJ has not defended as well as he was earlier, where he's kind of gone to the middle, but with such a big set of asphalt, Nick's gone all the way over to the yellow dotted line. So you kind of got to commit yourself to a full defense and make sure that person goes to the outside. But AJ's been making all his passes to the outside, as he's trying to do right now. So if he can get that run off the top right here, coming with 3 to go, I think he's going to get the lead. But I think for him to defend, he needs to close it all the way off, just like he would Daytona or Talladega, where you just sit in that yellow line.
Yeah, as we're at 3 to go, and I think you're exactly right. I think the move needs to be, it looks like you need to be on the inside line entering turn number 3. And as I think Luis Gonzalez may have just kissed the wall there entering 1. I don't know if he's going to be too hurt. Oh, yeah, that car's got serious suspension damage. He's in the wall, but he's keeping it pointed straight. Now it loops around. This could be a yellow that could end this race here. But right now, yep, caution is out. Now the question is who had the lead at the time of the yellow, because this will most likely be it. And it looks like it will be Nick DeGroot was leading when the yellow comes out here over the AJ Hobson. It's going to be a heartbreaker for AJ, and that's why we talked about why you maybe don't want to risk losing that. And you can see Nick wasting no time. He's going to hustle it down through the start-finish line. So let's go back first. Let's see what happened to Luis here, and then we'll watch to see if we can try to find at the time of the yellow what happened, or where that all occurred. So you see the 18, you see the 14 here. Again, everybody's trying to fight for that same track position. And I think just a little bit of net code, honestly, there between the 18 and the 15 there. Nothing really intentional or anything like that. Just bad luck for Luis. But then you can see what happens once he gets there. That car just completely no control of it, and say we'll even pop on board here. Look at the steering wheel. He's got that thing turned straight to the right, but look, that car just will not turn. That's got that front suspension damage, and unfortunately solid contact to the inside wall. And then just unfortunately with where that car was, it throws the yellow. So now let's go over to where AJ and Nick were battling for position here, because look how tight this is, Chris. We're going to try to see if we can... I'm going to actually go behind Jeff Heisong here. We're going to hop on board with him, and we'll run slow-mo to see if we can find where the caution lights fly. So if you see it before me, let me know. And you see the caution lights right there. They haven't triggered... Oh, no, actually, those are the cones. There's the caution lights already up ahead from Nick DeGroot's point of view. So I'm going to try to go further back and try to find someone who maybe has a better view. Here's one right here. They're still showing green for me there. So I'm curious about this, Chris. When those caution lights, because to me up front it looks like, oh no, they're still green. I'm sorry. So nope, not yet. Let's keep going back. Apologies again. Wow, this looks like the caution lights took a little while to switch off. So you can see it's still green.
Yeah, when that car was off the track, he was trying to keep it straight right up until he got, just lost all aero dependency. So
there it was, right there.
It's right when the caution happens.
Yeah, you saw it right there. That's what a split second were. So we'll pause it, and you can see entering the tunnel turn, clearly Nick DeGroot ahead. And yeah, so had that caution come out maybe, about 5 seconds sooner, it's very possible that number 4 would have been leading this race. So let's jump back live here, because these guys running under yellow here. Lights are lights are on the pace car. We're on 1 to go. There are no green white checkers here. So this will be our race result this evening, with Nick, AJ, and Jeff being our top 3 tonight. Yari and Eric going to finish rounding out our top 5. So definitely a heartbreaker for a couple drivers like Luis Gonzalez, Matt Wagner. Those two are definitely gutted for what could have been, what might have been for them. But man, definitely a tale of 2 races though here tonight, Chris. Early on, everybody's just kind of cruise control, taking it easy, no big pressure, no big moves. And then once that fuel mileage started to change, what the strategy is going to be, these guys they went for broke there at the end.
Yeah, definitely, hard situation for hard situation for these guys that, wrecked at the end and things like that. But I truly believe, with that, 5-second gap, plus or minus, I think AJ probably could have been winner of this race. Fortunately, we don't get a green to checkered finish. We have to finish on the yellow, which is, poor normal rules here at IndyCar. But very good race from these guys all around. We had a couple of wrecks and a couple of yellows happen at inopportune times for some people, but overall, very exciting race. Nothing too dull. I think is this the end, or we have one more?
Yep, coming across the checkered right there is Nick DeGroot takes the win. AJ Hobson, Jeff Heisong going to round out our top three there. And so before we pull up our interviews, I should say, we'll pull up our final results for tonight as we watch Nick go around. He's going to be celebrating here in just a moment. But Nick DeGroot, AJ Hobson, Jeff Heisong, as we mentioned, are top three. Then you get to Yari Brewpacker, Eric Peterson, 4th, 5th, Joseph Morales, Charles T, Dan Marrera, Taylor Reeves, and Gary Corley are top 10. And Dylan McIntosh, Joseph Desir rounding out our lead lap finishers. And then we go down to those a lap or more down, unfortunately, involving William Gunn, Luis Gonzalez, Matt Wagner, Christian Alesho, Jim Herrick, and CJ Holloman. And before we pull up our interviews, I think we'll probably want to say, because Nick's hustling this thing around, I think he wants to celebrate, and I think he wants us to be watching that as he does for a big power slide. And he's going to lose the front wing there, pulling a Chad Knaus there. We'll have to give him a hard time about that one, making sure that car passes Tech after that fast repair. All of that being said, it looks like it kind of brought itself back there, but this is going to be, I think Nick's going to be really happy about this one. I mean, of course, you always like to win, but I think to have to recover like he did there from that incident with Gary Corley, get back up in position to win this race, that's definitely one that you're going to feel good, where it's like, hey, I wasn't just up front controlling this thing. I had to work to get back from the teens or so back to the front. So, yeah, definitely a tough one for Nick to chase back down.
Yeah, very, very... It was almost like a comeback race, where you had those miracle races where everything just kind of not goes your way, and then you fight and you fight and you fight. Almost like the Kyle Larson race earlier this year, where he had to have he hit everything, car caught on fire and everything, but it took a lot of resilience to keep coming back and fighting and everything else like that. So good win for Nick. I think this one probably goes in his book of top wins.
Yep, we'll find out from him in a little bit, but first we're going to kick it off with our third place finisher. That's going to be the number 18 of Jeff Heisong. Jeff, you were right there at those closing laps, but it seemed like those top two, it's hard to find a way to kind of sneak in between those two, as kind of the way that draft works. You can get there, but then you just lose the momentum when you need it the most. But I mean, so you get the win at Vegas 2 weeks ago, you get a podium here tonight. I mean, still overall a pretty good solid start to the season, but I mean, I'm guessing it's one of those you want to get that little bit extra. I mean, what do you think it would have taken to try to jump ahead of that 4 and the 89 there at the end?
First of all, sorry to Luis right there, a little bit of netcode going into one, and he kind of was the victim of it. But yeah, I felt like I had a run off of 2 right there, right when the yellow came out. So I don't know. I was going to hope that the high line gave me a little clean air and something for him in the last couple of laps, but we didn't get to find out.
Yeah, Jeff, we very kind of quiet race for you. You're kind of just sitting around in the back, just trying to fight as much as you possibly could. Definitely like you had a chance at the end of this race to kind of take over if Nick and AJ decided to take each other out. Was that your plan all along, or you were just going to try to push it 3 wide on the last lap?
That was kind of the goal right there, was to get a run and maybe push it 3 wide and throw something in there and see if it could stick. I mean, I'm not going to throw it in there and wreck the 3 of us. So if I'd had to lift out, I would have done it. But it was a hell of a drive from Nick to get taken out and then drive back to the front. So I'm not sure I had anything for him in the end.
Yeah, it was definitely a really hard fought race. Obviously, a lot of different strategies throughout the course of the race. Fuel savings, for maybe trying to make it one less stop, and then the timing of that first yellow, same thing, right on the edge of that stop, maybe one stop less, and of course that one yellow comes out where it's like, okay, now all bets are off. I mean, was that kind of, were you, at the initial point in the race and then the first yellow, were you thinking kind of fuel save and try to cut off a pit stop, or how do you try to decide kind of track position or fuel mileage? Because like I said, it seemed like it was tough to pass the top 2 in that first run, especially. Everybody was being very patient. Kind of looked like that 3-stopper was kind of the plan from the get-go for most drivers.
Yeah, I was going for the 2-stop from the start. I mean, I was kind of upset that first caution came out because I had another 6.5 laps of fuel. Probably I could have made it 26, and then yeah, probably only would have needed one more stop to the end. But it made it interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that answers one of our other questions, Chris. How far some of those guys could go to be able to try to go 26 laps is very impressive, Jeff. But yeah, like I said, man, a great run to start off the season. Like I said, 2 podiums, 1 win already. So I honestly can't remember what the Dover result was now. It's been a blur since then, but you've had a great season to kick things off so far. Obviously, plenty of racing left to go. But before we let you go, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Just shout out to everybody. It was a great race, good hard race, and shout out to AJ and Nick for the podium and the win. Hell of a drive by Nick. Shout out to the family. Love you guys, and you guys for all the wonderful work you do.
All right, great job tonight, Jeff. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you again here soon, sir.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, so we're going to jump over from that number 18 of Jeff Hysong to the iconic Valvoline paint scheme of AJ Hobson. And AJ, I mean, we were trying to pull up the timing of the yellow there, and I said you'd been one of those ones that you'd be rooting for that yellow to come out very quickly when that incident happened there for Luis, because if it was right out of turn number 1, you probably had it, but just the way the leapfrog works with you and Nick kind of going back and forth, it just didn't work out for you. And I mean, that's something Chris and I talked about too, was does he wait? Does he try to time it where maybe he gets the lead in ring 3 instead of out of turn 1 or out of turn 2? Or is it just basically any opportunity you have to pass him, you pass him because you just don't know if that's going to be the end of the race or not?
Well, I kind of thought about the yellow happening with about 5 to go, thinking, if there's a yellow here, it probably won't go green again. So it was in my mind, but I didn't think it was going to come that soon. I thought it'd be more with like 2 or 1 lap to go. So unfortunately, I landed on the bad side of that one. But I was so close. I think I lost the race by a couple car lengths, maybe.
Yeah, I think Chris and I were looking at it on the replay. We tried to pull it up like right as the yellow got thrown, and yeah, I think it was right as you guys were entering the tunnel turn is when it threw, because Luis had the car pointed straight for a good chunk of the time there until finally the suspension just wouldn't let him point it straight anymore, and it kind of looped around to throw the yellow there. But like I said, I mean, it was a really good fight, and the question I think I had, the other one before I let Chris take over here, was turn number 3. It seemed like to me that was kind of the make or break turn, where if you were leading there, it was really tough to have that second place car get around before you got to the start finish line. But to me, it seemed like the inside line was where you wanted to be, run that shorter distance, because it didn't matter the momentum out of 3. You had enough time to basically get to the line before the momentum, I should say, from the second lane kind of took effect. Was that your goal? Was that maybe a late move, maybe try to dive low into 3 under Nick, or were you kind of having just kind of go where he wasn't there for those when you guys were kind of doing that back and forth?
I mean, the inside definitely would have worked. I pulled that move off on him at some point in that run, but he had that line kind of occupied there the last couple laps. So I don't know. I was trying to pinch him down and see if that'd maybe work, but you're able to go flat out through that corner if you got clean air, so it didn't really matter. So I think my move would have just been like a, in the moment thing, and I kind of just hope it would have stuck. But fortunately, like I said, we didn't get the chance to do that.
Yeah, AJ, you had some pretty good defending there when you had some other cars behind you. You were able to force them, you forced them to take you around the outside, which sometimes they couldn't even do that. So you were able to definitely keep everyone behind you that you wanted to, up until Nick decided to make a double pass. I'm not sure where he got that speed coming out from, but were you concerned about people just trying to take you low, or did you think you could have? And do you think you probably could have took them all the way down to the yellow line and just kept forcing that when Nick was right behind you?
I felt pretty confident to stay out in front. I was, pulling off some swerves on the straightaways and stuff to break the draft. I wasn't really concerned about anyone until I saw Nick make that big move in turn 3, which I actually think he got 3 cars in turn 3. So that was pretty crazy within itself. But was he on fresher tires? Do you guys know? Because I think he might have been from getting in that crash.
Yeah, I think he put tires in fuel. Actually, you know what? I don't know if he did, now that I'm thinking about it. So I think he jumped a bunch of guys when he got that fast repair with the fuel only. So actually, no, I think he was on just fuel only
Okay.
We'll find out here. Say once we're finished with you, we'll quiz him on that because there was some big moves there at the end. But I mean, it was a great run for you tonight, AJ. So you actually kind of tied a handful of guys for highest climber tonight, going from 9th to 2nd. So 7 spots gained. A great run for you tonight as well. Like I said, and loving the paint scheme. I say you can't go wrong with the Valvoline scheme on these cars. But,
pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome, the Valvoline scheme.
It's
cool.
a good looking one. But so before we let you go though, we definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight, sir?
Just the boys we run with each night in the Discord. It's fun to race with Charles and Eric every night, and good to see Gary get a good run up there too. I know it's been a minute since he's been able to do that. So really it's just fun running with the guys each night.
Yeah, and I think that's what it boils down to. It's just kind of like I said, it almost turns into like almost a bit of a hangout with racing involved. But kind of just hang out with your buddies and all that. So I say definitely looking forward to seeing more of you over the course of the season, AJ. Great job tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you one spot higher here soon.
Yeah, hopefully. It's been a minute, so I'm coming for that first place finish.
Looking forward to it, sir. Great job tonight.
Thank you.
All right, that leaves us one left to chat with here, Chris. And like I said, may have started on pole and got to the win, but anything but here. And Chris, you kind of mentioned it before we got to the interviews here. Might be one that's a little bit higher on the list of one of many of Nick DeGroot's wins in these Indy cars. Because I mean, what you had to come back from involved in the incident, able to make it to pit road, kind of not have to restart the end. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually fuel only there, plus maybe the fast repair to kind of jump a couple of guys on pit road to give you a little bit more track position as well there. And then, I mean, the move of the race there, getting, I don't know if it was a 2 or a 3 for 1 entering turn number 3 there, go low, pass a couple guys, get right back into the draft. You were a man with a purpose there at the end.
Yeah, that's going to be a memorable one. Very unconventional drive to the win for me. I did not expect when we were in the wall there with less than 15 to go that this was going to be a win. I was first hoping and praying we could get back to the pits so our race wouldn't be straight up over. And after we did, I'm like, okay, let's push hard, see if we can get a top 5. And just the way everything worked out, we had a couple good moves there. We had that moment, as you said, in turn 3 where just the seas parted. Everybody went up top and gave me all that clean air, was able to jump right up into the lead. And before that's unfortunate what happened with Eric and Wagner, but that was 2 guys that were going to be very difficult to pass who kind of just got out of my way with via the incident. So yeah, had a little bit of luck too. And I'm just kind of wow.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know how in the world you make 3 passes in less than 5 football links right there coming out of 3. You made 3 passes. No one even saw that coming. I think everyone got caught off guard when you made that pass. Was that something you just committed to and you knew you were going to make, or was it just something that just kind of came to you as you were rounding the corner?
I was just going where they weren't. If they went low, I was going high. If they went high, I was going low. But coming off the corner, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to clear. I was sorry, you tell them all mixed up. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to clear whoever was second, and I'd lose all my momentum and I'd be right back to square one. But thankfully, slid right up between AJ and I think it was Luis, and then easily got the run on AJ down the front straight away. And then we started duking out the conventional way, going back and forth. Just got to that point of no return, holding our breath, looking to see, is there going to be yellow? We're going to get a green finish. And I remember last season in this race, I was in a similar battle with Andrew Wood, and we had that caution with like 2 laps to go when I was right wheel to wheel with him. So that was definitely on my mind. So this time there was a caution that actually ended up in our favor. So yeah, that was a wild 15 laps.
Yeah, it was a really, really impressive run. Like I said, a great recovery as well. And so, I mean, I'm going to go back now to the beginning of the race because it looked like you kind of had a little bit of a reminder from Dover because we were running the numbers like this is going to probably be a 3-stopper if you can save 4 if you kind of go full send from lap 1. And I mean, you just basically just kind of tucked in behind Yari and said, "You have at it, buddy. I'll cruise with you." And you really made no moves there that first stint of the race. And I want to say it was either the second or third run of the race as well, where you kind of went from about the top 2, top 3 back to about 8th or so. Was that basically you saying, you know what, I think I can pull a pit stop out of this thing and kind of just save and kill one pit stop? Or, I mean, take us through kind of the strategies over the course of tonight with the fuel mileage.
Yeah, so like you said, I kind of remember Dover, and that was a place I expected to get a caution. Today I was expecting that it might be a bit greener, so yeah, I was wrong on both counts because Dover only had the 1 or 2 yellows, and here we had a ton of them, so you really never know what's going to happen. But from lap 1, I was saving, and anyone who knows me knows I hate fuel saving. I hate doing that. I just want to go all out. And this race did not help that because I saved really hard those first 20 laps. Then we get a caution that undoes the 5 laps that I had just saved during the first 24 or 5 laps. Then, okay, we're back to fuel save again, but it's going to be even harder this time because of when that first yellow came out. I do a great job, go longer than everyone else, get to lap 48, and then boom, 3 laps later, there's another caution. Just completely eliminates the fuel mileage race. So then we're going hard to the next pit stop, and then lo and behold, on lap 63 or 64, we get another caution that makes it a fuel race again. And then I'm saving fuel and ended up having that incident with Gary, which was unfortunate, but in hindsight, I guess it all worked out. But looking back on that, I kind of realized what happened right after the incident when I started thinking about it, because Gary and I had been going back and forth a lot today. He was running really strong. And when he got under me, I would always just let him go. And in that situation, for whatever reason, I just felt in the moment, I'm just going to hang up top here. I want to stay in third behind Luis and Yari as they're swapping in. So he went in there expecting to have the whole track, and he didn't. I was right next to him. So that's unfortunate for both of us, but glad he still, I think, got a top 10 in the end either way. But yeah, then it set up that shootout to the finish where just absolute mayhem and bedlam all the way through.
Yeah, it was a really, like I said, there's a lot of different things going on in the course of the race. And then, like I said, on your side too, like I said, you had the fuel save, okay, fuel save again, okay, and then you think you're good, then back to fuel save, and then, like I said, and then involved in the incident, then you just have to kind of go for broke there at the end. But it worked.
Just drive as hard as I possibly could those final few laps, which really made up for the 50 laps of fuel saving. Went from going, okay, just fuel save, half throttle all the way around the track. And then at the end of the thing, it's a completely different race, going 110%, all 3 corners, every straightaway, which is just, it's wild here. It's very easy to find trouble.
So at least you got to get into your kind of your zone there, if you will, of kind of going full send at the end, because it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was really impressive the moves you were making, man. So like Chris said, I'd say definitely probably one that you'll have towards the top of your list of some of your very memorable wins with these cars as well. So we won't keep you too long. We'll let you go celebrate, Nick. But before we let you go, definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts for that win tonight.
Yeah, as always, everybody, Factory Back Motorsports. I think we got them plenty of TV time tonight from Canvas Shoes, CobyMoore.com, Motorsport.com, Wegmans, Gudamo, U-Haul and Detailing, Cowboy Shit, and everybody else who supports us. And we really needed these back-to-back wins because I'm going to be missing 1, maybe 2 races later this season. So we need to pad those points as best we can because Jeff Heisung, he is really doing a good job this season. I think he's been top 3 almost, or top 5 every single race. He's got that win in the season opener too, so he's somebody to watch.
Yeah, so everybody's been stepping their game up for sure. So we'll miss you those couple of nights. I'm sure the opposition may have other feelings there, but great job though tonight, Nick. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to see you here soon, sir.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Chris, that is our race winner in that number 89 of Nick DeGroot, and you could just tell from his voice there, like. He went through a lot tonight to even be in the running to have even just a chance at the win here tonight with everything that was going on with the fuel mileage, with the caution, being involved in the incident at the end. I mean, it was an eventful one for him tonight, and saying those are those ones when you can kind of come through those and come out up top with the W. Those are hard to top sometimes for kind of feeling like you really accomplished something in these ones.
Yeah, that's definitely a race where you just never mentally give up. Even though you wrecked and you're sitting there, you're like, man, 15 laps, I'm not gonna come back. I'm not gonna get a top 10 with the way that everyone was racing. So it's one of those mental struggles that you have to have, and when you have that fortitude to come back and race, and all of a sudden you start looking and you're like, oh, well, there's a caution there. Here's another caution. Oh, look, I'm back. I'm sixth. I can pass a couple of these guys. I have a really good car, and you make a pass like he did. That gives you all the time. That gives you all the confidence in the world to, fight as hard as you can and not really worry about another wreck because you're already wrecked. So, the worst case scenario is you just don't finish the race this time. Now that you have your fast repair. So, one of those kind of mental battles that make the victory that much more sweeter. Very good. Good congratulations to Nick DeGroot. That was a very good race. To all the top three, really, great race for them.
Yeah, a really fun one here tonight at Pocono. And that's the thing is like Pocono with these cars, to me just never disappoints. So we hope you all enjoyed it. As I say, Chris, I think we definitely had enough fun on our side with these guys as well with these cars. It was a good one tonight. And then so looking forward to seeing you all again next week for the Indy cars. However, of course, before then we will be back on Thursday night Super Speedway Truck Series. I believe we'll be back at Talladega Super Speedway, if I'm not mistaken. It might be actually at Daytona. I can't remember the schedule now. It's kind of a blur how fast things are going over there as well. But either way, we'll be back. We'll be broadcasting there. Myself and or Maxwell Boomer, I think, is going to be making a return here shortly as well. So hope you all have a wonderful evening. Hope you enjoyed tonight's race. As always, of course, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you all on Thursday night.